Historical horror. The Dancing Plague of 1518. It's the summer of 1518, in Strasbourg, France. Suddenly a woman named Frau Trophea steps into the street and begins to dance. However, this was not the normal dancing you see at clubs or weddings. This was a spastic, out-of-control type movement that could almost be mistaken for a standing conscious seizure. Historical accounts describe her movements as wild and erratic, arms flailing, body twisting, feet stomping with no discernible rhythm, like going to a rave for the first time without having ever listened to electronic music. According to witnesses, her face was contorted and described as a mixture of pain and ecstasy. What was most concerning, however, was that she could not stop. She continued this ritualistic type dancing until she dropped to the ground out of sheer exhaustion. Once her body regained the minimum amount of energy needed to stand, she would rise again and continue her movement. What makes this story even more strange is that people began to join her. Within a week, dozens would begin their own bizarre dancing, and by the end of the month, approximately 400 townspeople were experiencing the same affliction. Many of these people continued dancing until they died from heart attacks, strokes, or pure exhaustion. This phenomenon lasted for months according to modern scholars. This event is one of the most well-documented cases of mass hysteria known to man. This is not a creepy story or a fairy tale. It is an actual event that took place and shocked and terrified a community. One might wonder why this event happened. What could have led to such a strange situation? Everyone at the time was looking for answers, and even now it is debated as to the reasoning hundreds of people took to the streets and danced themselves to death. The first theory, and most agreed upon by historians, is that this mass hysteria was caused by years of extreme hardship. France in the early 1500s was a brutal place to live for all people. This time period was rife with issues. Things like famines, illnesses including smallpox, syphilis, and leprosy, and an infant mortality rate of 60%. When people are collectively under that much stress and hardship, psychological problems can run rampant and lead to unthinkable things. Additionally, neuroscience supports this view. Our brains have mirror neurons that facilitate empathy and imitation. This creates a social contagion, meaning that once enough people exhibit a particular behavior, others will join them, believing that they too must exhibit the same behavior. The second theory is that there was ergot in the bread or in the water. This fungus grows on rye and has LSD-type effects. While ergot usually includes painful muscle spasms which would not totally correlate with the dancing. However, this is still a possible explanation considering the number of people affected and the fact that water and bread were the main sources of sustenance. The third theory is that a comet passing near Earth could be what triggered this type of mass hysteria. While this is not a mainstream explanation, comets passing close to Earth can emit gases or dust from their tail. These gases can then enter Earth's atmosphere, in which they are then inhaled by people on the ground. What historical records do agree on is the solution to this dancing problem, which was essentially more dancing. The town built stages, hired musicians, and encouraged people to keep dancing. The thought was the victims had hot blood that needed to be cooled down with more dancing, basically thinking they could solve the problem by exacerbating it. While it is not confirmed, it's believed that hundreds of people died, and at its peak there may have been about 15 deaths a day. Thank you for checking out this video, and subscribe for more interesting and horrifying historical events. Also check out our shorts where we provide interesting information on wildlife and history. We'll see you next time on Erratic Information.